Imagine a weapon so insidious, it hides in plain sight. A weapon that doesn't explode or fire bullets, but slowly ensnares its victims with an addictive grip. This isn't science fiction, but a dark chapter of history where Japan weaponized cigarettes. Hey history buffs, welcome back to the channel. This is Chronicles of the Past, your guide to the mysteries and controversies of the ancient world. Today we're exploring a shocking tactic used by Imperial Japan, turning tobacco into a tool of war and domination. You'll discover how cigarettes fueled Japan's expansion, the cunning ways they were used to control populations, and the lasting consequences of this strategy. This is a story of addiction, exploitation, and a side of World War II you probably haven't heard before. We'll be drawing from declassified documents, historical accounts, and expert analysis to uncover this hidden history. Get ready for a disturbing yet fascinating look at how something as commonplace as a cigarette became a weapon of war. But before we light up this dark chapter, make sure you hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on more mind-blowing historical deep dives. Let's get started. Give this video a thumbs up if you're ready to uncover this hidden history, and let me know in the comments what you think about this shocking strategy. The rise of tobacco in Japan. To truly grasp the extent of Japan's wartime strategy involving cigarettes, we need to step back and understand how deeply tobacco became ingrained in Japanese society. While tobacco first appeared in Japan in the 16th century, brought over by Portuguese and Spanish traders, it remained a relatively niche product for centuries. It wasn't until the Meiji Restoration in 1868, a period of rapid modernization and industrialization, that the government recognized the potential of tobacco. Eager to strengthen the nation and fund its ambitious goals, the Meiji government saw tobacco as a lucrative source of revenue and a symbol of a modernizing Japan. This led to the establishment of the Japan Tobacco Monopoly Corporation in 1898. This move gave the government absolute control over every aspect of the tobacco industry, from cultivation and production to sales and distribution. This state-controlled monopoly, with its power to regulate prices and influence consumption patterns, would become a crucial instrument in Japan's later wartime strategy. By controlling the tobacco industry, the government not only secured a vital source of income but also gained a powerful tool for influencing behavior and manipulating both its own citizens and the populations of its occupied territories. This level of control over a seemingly ordinary commodity like tobacco set the stage for its eventual weaponization. Cigarettes as tools of conquest. As Japan expanded its empire across Asia in the early 20th century, cigarettes became an unexpected tool of conquest. They were distributed to soldiers and civilians in occupied territories, serving several strategic purposes. Pacification and goodwill. Cigarettes, often given away for free or sold cheaply, were a way to appease local populations and create a sense of obligation towards the Japanese. It was a subtle form of bribery, fostering a false sense of generosity. Intelligence gathering. Cigarettes became a valuable bargaining chip. Japanese officials used them to reward informants and gain crucial information about local resistance movements and strategic locations. Currency and control. In war-torn economies, cigarettes became a form of currency. They could be exchanged for goods and services, giving the Japanese access to resources without relying on traditional money. This created economic dependency on the occupiers. Can you imagine cigarettes being used this way? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Exploiting addiction. While the distribution of cigarettes served as a tool for pacification and intelligence gathering, the true insidiousness of this strategy lay in the deliberate exploitation of nicotine addiction. Japan understood the power of this addictive substance. As people in occupied territories became increasingly hooked on cigarettes, their dependence grew, making them vulnerable to manipulation and control. This dependence manifested in several ways. Firstly, it fostered a sense of gratitude and obligation towards the Japanese, who were seen as providers of this desired commodity. This made the local population more compliant and less likely to resist the occupation. Secondly, nicotine addiction created a captive market for the Japan Tobacco Monopoly Corporation. The increasing demand for cigarettes in occupied territories generated enormous profits, which flowed directly back to the Japanese government. This revenue stream funded the war effort, essentially allowing Japan to profit from the very people it was oppressing. This created a vicious cycle. The more people became addicted, the more profits were generated, further fueling the war machine and tightening Japan's grip on these territories. This calculated exploitation of addiction for both political and economic gain represents a particularly dark chapter in the history of tobacco and its use as a tool of control. The case of Manchuria. Let's take a closer look at how this strategy played out in Manchuria, a region occupied by Japan in the 1930s. Cigarettes were heavily promoted and distributed, with smoking even incorporated into school curriculums. This normalized smoking and created a new generation of addicts. The Japanese also established opium dens where cigarettes were readily available, further fueling addiction and social problems. This created a demoralized and dependent population, easier to control and exploit. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss more in-depth historical analyses like this. The long-term impact. The legacy of Japan's cigarette strategy is still felt today. Smoking rates remain high in many East Asian countries formerly occupied by Japan. This has led to significant public health issues and economic burdens. While it's impossible to directly attribute all of this to Japan's wartime actions, there's no doubt that their aggressive promotion of smoking contributed to the normalization and widespread acceptance of this harmful habit. What are your thoughts on the lasting impact of this strategy? Let's discuss in the comments. Ethical considerations. Looking back at this period of history, it's crucial to critically examine the ethical implications of Japan's actions. While it's true that the full extent of smoking's devastating health effects wasn't scientifically established in the early 20th century, the deliberate exploitation of addiction for political and economic gain raises profound moral questions. Even with limited knowledge of the long-term consequences, the Japanese government understood the addictive nature of nicotine and consciously used it to manipulate and control populations under their rule. This raises concerns about informed consent and the responsibility of those in power to protect the well-being of those they govern, even in times of conflict. Furthermore, this historical episode serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the potential for abuse when ethical considerations are disregarded in the pursuit of strategic objectives. The weaponization of cigarettes by Japan highlights how seemingly innocuous products can be used to exploit vulnerabilities and perpetuate control. This underscores the need for constant vigilance and ethical reflection, even in wartime, to prevent the abuse of power and protect the fundamental rights and well-being of all individuals. This dark chapter in history serves as a cautionary tale, urging us to remain mindful of the ethical implications of our actions and to prioritize human dignity even in the face of conflict and strategic advantage. Today we uncovered a shocking and little-known aspect of World War II history, how Japan turned cigarettes into a weapon of war. We explored how cigarettes were used for pacification, intelligence gathering, economic control, and the exploitation of addiction. This story serves as a stark reminder of the lengths to which nations will go to achieve their goals and the importance of critical thinking and ethical considerations, even in times of war. If you found this video informative, please like, comment, and subscribe for more fascinating historical deep dives. And for even more content, click the link on the screen to check out our latest video. Thanks for watching.